Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Better Together podcast. I'm your host, Mike Baker, and I think I say this every time that I'm excited about the guests because I truly am. This one is very special. Maggie Lyons with Charity Reimagined is here today. She's going to talk about the difference between sort of a flash in the pan, one-time help, and walking alongside somebody that truly needs help. This is an incredible conversation, and I'm going to challenge you to listen to this one sincerely and think about the ways that you can change and think about how you serve the community. It's a great conversation. We're going to have lots of fun. Let's get into it. Maggie, welcome to the podcast. It's so exciting to have you here. We've been working together for many years and just watching the impact of your organization, the work you're doing. It truly is making our community a better place. So thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
We're going to have a great conversation. I always love starting out with what the organization is, so people understand that, and then a little bit about how you got into that. So let's start about talk to me about Charity Reimagined. What are you guys up to, and what are you all about?
Okay, well, I can talk for hours about Charity Reimagined, so I know we don't have that much time. But Charity Reimagined was founded actually in 2018 and actually started operations in 2019. It was originally founded for purpose to rethink how we do charity, right? And so that has been our focus from the very beginning with real strategic principles. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I brought a copy of this book.
It's a great book.
Because there are really hundreds of professionals who all have the same PhD in understanding how we truly help the poor. Mm-hmm. And they all don't know each other, but their PhD was 40 years plus working with the poor. So they've come up with these foundational principles about what's really essential. And this is the best primer on that subject, right? So his work was very instrumental in the formation of Charity Reimagined.
Yeah, I remember early on when you guys were talking, about putting all this together, and didn't they come out and speak?
Well, we did bring them for our very first annual training, but I'll just give you the background because you asked how did it get started, right? Well, it was through my own mistake in charity. And I was mentoring a woman out of the UGM Center, actually in Spokane, even though I served on the steering committee to bring the Center for Women and Children here to Coeur d'Alene. And she graduated. She was reunited with her kids. She was 2 years clean and sober, but she was still struggling financially. So what did I do? I swooped in. I bought her everything, including a car. And she already actually had a car. But I knew what was best. And so I didn't cause her relapse, but I was a contributor to it, and it brought me to my knees, Mike, right? So
it breaks you, right?
Anyway, I was at that point so confused and so upset because I had always equated generosity with unconditional giving of money. And this experience slapped me in the face. And then I read this book, and he was able to articulate and put into words all the confusion that was in my head. And so I hopped on a plane and went back and met Dr. Lupton.
That's so
I had to make sure it was the real deal because what he said was so profoundly on point with what was stirring in my soul. So at that point then I launched really about 2 years of just research, and that's when I was introduced to all these other experts. And then basically just they all had the same principles on if we are truly going to help the poor, we have to invest, and we have to get away from the dependency handouts that do not help people move forward. So that's Charity Reimagined, and we're dedicated to working with really good strategic organizations in this community like Heritage Health, who see the potential and recognize that potential can be discovered if the right resources are wrapped around these individuals. Yeah.
Oh, I love that word. I love that you use the wraparound, right? I mean, this community is incredible for so many reasons, right? But I think we find ourselves wrapping around people all the time, trying to lift and help. And occasionally you do get burned, right? Like maybe it wasn't the right time for somebody in their cycle of life, but it also, I don't see people giving up, like you did. You doubled down. You're like, okay, I still want to help people. How can I do it better? What does that look like? Let's talk about like why we should rethink charity and what that looks like. I mean, that's a big component of the work that you guys are doing, is just rethinking the way that we're helping. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure. So rethinking is a challenge, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I've learned that actually change is hard for a lot of people. I actually personally am wired for change. So because I think change takes something that's already happening and good, but can make it better. Mm-hmm. And I think we're wired to just make things better, right? So the rethinking of the charity is often misunderstood. Our message is often misunderstood, that we're saying that you're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's never been what we've said. But what we do say is, can't we do it better?
Yeah.
And we can. And honestly, a lot of people who have understood this are tired of seeing the same people come back over and over and over again, not any change in their circumstances. So that's the need for the rethinking. If what we're doing mm-hmm. is not helping people get out of their current situation, if they're not actually advancing forward to become independent and productive themselves because of the gifts and talents that they've been given, mm-hmm. then there's opportunity to rethink what we're doing and how we can do it differently.
And I think, it's fun when a challenge comes at you, right? Like as you look at, all of the things that you do, we can always do better. And that shouldn't, I like how you framed that before too, like not here saying like the work that you're doing isn't valuable and you're not trying hard, but like every organization, every human, like we should just always be thinking like, how can I do this better?
I know.
And breaking the cycle has to be the goal. And I think, that seems to be like such a big part of this. Like, yeah, we could continue to do the same thing, and your kids and their kids and these generational cycles of poverty are just going to continue to exist. But you see those instances where the cycle gets broken, somebody breaks free, and the impact of the generations after that it's incredible to see. Let's talk about that just for a little bit more, because I know that's close to your heart.
It is so exciting, right? And we've been doing this long enough now. Mm-hmm. It's not quick. It's often very messy, right, in terms of walking alongside people, where they have to invest and take ownership and responsibility, but there are barriers, right? So we address those barriers as we walk alongside them, right? And it is so joyful, but even so overwhelmingly powerful, because when these individuals finally discover that they're talented, that they're smart, that they're capable, and they've gained their job skills. I mean, we've got so many now who have graduated college. They got their GED. They've graduated college. They are on fire.
Yeah, that's that cycle breaker.
They are on fire to help others, right? To discover what they have discovered. So we like to say that poverty may hide, but it cannot erase mm-hmm. a person's potential. So it's just a thrill when they discover it.
I've talked to a few people that you guys have helped, and I've seen it in their eyes. There's a shift in their eyes. I don't know, just the confidence that is there. Before, like when I talked to a couple of these people before, it's like not making eye contact, and you could just tell there's not a lot of self-confidence in there. And then after a long time working with you guys and seeing that somebody cares, there's this shift that it's like, you share your soul with somebody and you see it work, and all of a sudden you lit another person's soul on fire, and they are those people that are breaking the cycle, going to school, different jobs, thinking differently. I mean, it's so powerful when you get to see it in somebody's eyes. So
I know.
You guys are doing great work.
Well, we had one mom graduate with her AA degree with her daughter graduating from high school. Mm-hmm. And that daughter that fall enrolled and went to U of I.
Wow, that's cool.
And it does. It breaks the cycle, right? And this young mom says this all the time to us, right? When we're with her, I am so grateful for the bad because the good is so much better because of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it makes you stronger. I mean, everybody has to go through challenges. And if you're equipped with a strong support system and people around you, you're more likely to make it through when you don't have people around you that are cheering for you and, helping to support you. I mean, you can just see how quickly that cycle goes the other direction. It's like that one challenge brought people to their knees and they never got back up because they didn't have any help. And then the world is brutal sometimes. I mean, it'll just keep pounding on you until there's that opening. And then all of a sudden some light starts creeping back in and you just see their soul come back. It's beautiful.
I think if we can circle back to that,
Yeah.
The work that we're doing is a lot of education, right? And we work alongside really, really great organizations, right, who do relational work and support them actually directly, right? And so like Street Med is a perfect example. When Chris took over Street Med, and I've told you this before, Mike, but
great guy.
It was a bit of a revolving door. Wounds were treated, and then they just went back out the door. And Chris saw the potential in these people who really had been unhoused for years, right? And so that's just a really good example of what we think is so valuable in that those are tremendous barriers. This is generational poor. And that's like the worst, right? If you're not housed, right? But we have generational poverty now as a result of really since the 60s with the change in welfare.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about how we respond, it's not a hard line, but there are two fairly distinct buckets. One is generational poverty. And these individuals haven't grown up seeing opportunity in this great country. And there are very, very embedded barriers. Many of them, we're working with so many who are high school dropouts. They did not even get their diploma. And so that is just very real. And the responses to that general bucket of need is so much different than what I'll call our working poor, who for the most part have work skills, right? But in today's inflationary period, post-COVID, they are one disaster away from losing everything. But our response is different to that, right? So a lot of the work that we're doing is working on the development piece. And development for our generational poor is what is the key. So the barriers are lack of education, lack of job skills, lack of just skills in the household, right? They haven't learned to cook. They haven't learned to manage any money.
Yeah, kind of those basics.
And so the really basic skills, so a lot of the barriers are that. And then we have barriers of housing. We have barriers of transportation is huge in this rural community. And so the education, the mental health issue is huge, as you know so well. You live it every day. That, especially post-COVID, is on steroids. So these are the things that we want our charity to shift. And instead of a free bag of groceries, how do we coalesce the resources in a way that start addressing the actual barriers? And then with the strategic partnerships, they know their people the best.
Yeah.
So Chris comes to us and says, this is what this person needs. And so, it's not a free bag of groceries, right?
Like, that feels good for a minute,
So,
but it's not the thing that breaks the cycle, as you go through it. And, there's those transition periods within organizations and within people's lives, right? Like some days that bag of groceries is super important. We got to get through today. But I love the connection, like you talked about, Chris, right? Working with people that are in that space to say, all right, it's time to start making some changes. And here's how we connect with a program that's going to walk alongside us. I mean, there's those two elements, right? Some days today's today, and it's just tough, and some top ramen's going to get me through today, and we're going to survive. But that is not sustainable. That doesn't lead to that long-term outcome that we're all hoping for. And I love that you guys have come alongside, with our street medicine program, and just connected with lives. And I mean, you guys have made a huge impact. It's been really fun. Like Chris calls me frequently. He's like, we got this done and this is happening. And we're so grateful for the work that Maggie's doing and the people in our community just showing up. There's something about knowing that there are people out there that care. And I like that you are challenging people to think differently. You know, I know early on when it's starting, right, that there were some people in the community like, hey, hold on here. What do we do? You know, where are we going with this?
I know.
But your sustained momentum toward it, you know, really is your outcomes are really starting to show up, and you can see that, hey, it's a good way to do it. And I think that's great. So great job with that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the components, like what is different. So how should people be thinking about their charitable activities differently? What's the advice out there? What's kind of the framework, you know, within Charity Reimagined that's different than, hey, I just sent $50 to the animal shelter, or, you know, whatever that looks like?
Sure. Well, this perfect segue, because in 2019, the Coeur d'Alene Press, which had a 33-year entrenched one-way giveaway program, right, asked us to redesign it. And so we said, well, we'd love to, because this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
So as the generosity, and I love to say this, and I'll say it over and over and over again, this isn't about less compassion, it's about strengthening it. So we were able to take that, we managed that nonprofit for the press. And we went in the very beginning to just a very small group, 10, right? Different groups. And we said, what are your needs? And then they started telling us their needs. And their mouths dropped when they said, you really mean it? You want to know our needs, right? So Mary Wolfinger with Mental Health Court said, Maggie, my people are smart. They can't read the curriculum because they've never had an eye exam or glasses. Well, I said, well, we were just starting. I said, well, we don't have any optometrists.
We're not in that line of business, but we'll figure it out.
But anyway, less than 2 weeks, we had 10 optometrists who had stepped up. And our business partners in this, right? It takes the business community, and it's going to them and saying, we aren't asking you to donate this because it's not sustainable. You can't be a long-term partner. So, but can you do it at reduced cost to make the dollars stretch further? So that's one example. So as we're working with, really when we're speaking with donors mostly, it's like within your organization that you love, whatever nonprofit you love, if you see that there's opportunity to take your traditional model, like what we did with Christmas for All, and tweak it so that who you're serving, you start asking more, not less from them. Right?
Yeah.
You start bringing them into the solution. You are no longer the hero in the story. They become the hero. And you start really identifying, okay, what is your barrier? Right? And then start shifting the resources to address those barriers. And you know, it's evolved. We've learned so much from the people who we support now, and especially our referring partners is what we call them.
Yeah.
So Heritage Health is a referring partner, like the other ones, right? We have about 30 of them now. And so am I answering your question?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I love it. This is great.
So if we could get, and I hope that we do, I think this podcast is so well timed because we're just starting a monthly column,
That's
right,
great.
in the press
Yeah.
on this very issue.
Yep.
If we can get, our vision is within the next 5 years. Right now, I will tell you about 80% of all of our charity help is rescue. Is rescue.
Yeah.
And it needs to flip. We still need rescue.
Yeah.
There are true emergencies.
It's like that safety net.
You have to swoop in, and you don't ask any questions. But rescue response should last really no more than about 2 or 3 months. And then you go into development. And development is where I hope we can shift and go from 80% rescue to about 80% development and still have 20% rescue.
Yeah.
And as a community, recognize that. And then we have so many great we're helping organizations in this community, and no one can do it all. And so on most of the individuals that we've supported have involved at least 3 to 4 different organizations who do something different.
Yeah.
So Chris has stepped in with the Croc and with C&D to work because additional resources needed to come in for this case that for this particular family that Croc was supporting. And the opportunity now for them is spectacular.
That's so cool.
Because of this cross-resourcing is what we call it, right?
Yeah.
And it's easy. It's not a criticism. I mean, these organizations are so busy and working so hard. They're just siloed. And then we, of course, have Charity Tracker, which is a communication and collaboration tool that lets all of them talk to each other at no charge because we underwrite that cost. And so we've got some different initiatives and tools now that have developed to help them talk to each other. And so they're doing that a lot now on their own. But we still are a pivotal touch point for bringing in the other organizations when we see the need.
Yeah, no, you're doing such a great job. And I think, the development part of giving is the hard work, right? I mean, I love it that our community has big drives and they raise money and they do things, right? Like that is really cool, and it's not easy, but it's a much simpler path to say, like, I participated in the community. So everybody, please keep doing that. That's great. The development side of it, right? Like taking people one step further to say, look, rescue happened. Let's make sure we don't have to keep rescuing. I mean, you don't want to maybe live that way for your whole life. Let's try to normalize things. And the development work is so much harder. It takes more time and it's more investment in the people. But I think that for the participant, having somebody that is willing to invest in you is probably sometimes the first time in their life that they've had somebody that's been in that space that's willing to walk alongside them instead of criticize them and abuse them and just push them down. And again, it's back to just those relationships. And I love how you tied that back to all of the partners, right? We're healthcare people. We do lots of things, but we're the healthcare people. We have St. Vinny's and we have the Croc Center, and we have all these amazing programs. We had just one of our previous episodes, CD Aid was here, and no, that's near and dear to your heart as we're walking through that. But we're all trying to do this, and I think one of the things that I love the most about what you're doing is challenging people to think about the hard work versus the flash in the pan. That, again, we need it. It's good. But how do we think about it differently? And I know even first time when, we talked, there were times when I was like, man, I don't know. I mean, this is just sort of how things worked. And I left myself thinking sometimes that feels different to me if you're not thinking about the long-term outcome. I was like, oh, I don't know. How do you approach it in a way that, has the compassion built in? Because sometimes you have to say, we actually can't help you with that, or that maybe that's not the right path to get you to where you need to go, but you're creating space and options. And I think that sometimes can be challenging out there when people are like, well, let's just give them a bag of food.
I know, that's true. It is the hardest to say no, but we never say a hard no. So typically what we'll say is, this is not a hard no, it's just a not now.
Yeah.
So continue working alongside, continue to develop your commitment, right? Bottom line is there has to be participation by the individual.
Yeah.
There just has to be. And so our referring partners all do that really well, but it's still heartbreaking when not everybody does it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, not everybody's ready for change. I mean, we do a lot of substance use treatment here. And, when I talk to our therapists, I mean, they're like, people, they're going to relapse a few times, right? I mean, it just sometimes that's how it works for people, but they know that we're always here and we're never going to give up on them, right? Like, it's not a shame. Like, if you came in and you relapse, like, we're not here to shame you. We're just, how do we figure it out the next time? Like, what are the triggers that we need to avoid? Having that stable presence in your lives, it ultimately does lead to better outcomes. And we see it all the time with our treatment programs, but it's not an overnight thing. I mean, you are changing generational thought patterns and behaviors and the way we see the world. That doesn't change overnight.
Yep.
Yeah.
So true.
Oh my gosh, this is such a fun conversation. When you think about the next few years ahead, what are some of the things that you guys are looking at? When we did our episode with the Companions Animal Center, they said we just want to make sure every animal's adopted and we don't need to exist. Well, there's probably always going to be a need for it, right? I'm sure it would be lovely to say everybody's stable and we're ready to go. But what are some tangible things that you guys are thinking about as you look at the next few years?
Well, I think with our vision, in about 5 years, if we can flip to 80% development and 20% rescue,
Yeah.
that we've connected in a way that changes models, changes the touch point. I say this, Mike, often. We can give kids free food all day long.
Yeah.
We can give them free coats all day long. If we are not asking, why are they not being fed at home and getting coats from home? If we don't ask and find out that why, we are not doing what we need to be doing. So that's my hope, is that we have several initiatives right now. One is a fabulous scarcity mindset, what is a financial training program, but it's very holistic, based on the 8 domains of wellness. It's called Pathways to Prosperity, and it's already had 4 cohorts that's under our umbrella now. And we are working now with generational poor, predominantly only women so far, but we expect to expand that as we can gain the funding to expand it. And then the next step on that one is a cooking class, where they're rewarded with this cooking class and they get an Instant Pot. So far, we've had 3 of those classes. All these women have said that they've never cooked like this in their lives.
Wow. Yeah.
We have a transportation initiative called Rides for a Reason, where we are selling good, reliable used cars at very, very low cost through a low interest rate loan through the Mountain West Bank. And they go through their own separate budgeting there. They have to be working or enrolled in school. So that's another initiative.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of other initiatives as well. So I'd like to see more broad-based initiatives that tackle the barriers. Housing is a huge one.
Housing
It's
is
just huge, right?
Possible right now, yeah.
So, but on the transportation side, on the food side, seeing less food giveaways. We're gonna do a pilot program with the church. It's gonna be our greatest resource for teaching Pathways cooking class.
That's so
right?
cool. Yeah.
So right within the neighborhoods, reach out to the neighbors who are close to you, and let's do these classes so we can teach people. And the very first class we did, it was so sobering. One of the moms raised her hand and said, "I've never grocery shopped," because we had all the groceries ready for them, right? When we did this cooking class with the Instant Pot.
Never grocery shopped, yeah.
So, I mean, that's what we're learning, right? And so more mentorship, but it takes training. It takes a lot of training, like the mistakes I made,
Yeah.
right? So that nobody else does that and has to bear that kind of guilt.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
So, so we need mentors. We need trained mentors. We need, I think, more initiatives that focus on life skills, because this work is really dedicated to our generational poverty, who just have not had the support growing up. They've had love. I don't question that. Many of them, no, but many of them, very strong family bond. But the cycles are repeated, right? So that's what my hope is that over the next 5 years we can coalesce a better focus on dedicating resources to removing barriers.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think the thing that's different here, so, if I give a bag of groceries, I'm still removed from the person receiving, versus in this model, like if I sign up to be a mentor, or, I want to help and be part of it, like your time with that person becomes the gift, that starts to help shape people. And that is harder. It requires an emotional investment in another human soul. But the outcome of that, I'm going to say 10 times, 100 times. I mean, it's such a difference when you have somebody that walk alongside somebody and this person knows, like, I can call, I can check in. If I have a question, like I have a resource to say, here's a challenge, help me sort this out, versus the rescue mentality that is always like, I'm going to go save you. You're okay. Yay, me.
Everything's fine now.
Hey, that's fine. I mean, we need, like, there's value, right? There's value there. But I love the long-term thinking to say, like, how do we just shift our thinking to say, why doesn't that kid have a coat? How do we address these other problems so that we don't have to always come in and rescue? And I think that's such a beautiful way to think about it.
Yeah. And I have donors who come to me and say, but I don't want to be messy. I don't want to do that. And I said, that's okay.
That's okay, right.
You don't have to, but your dollars are very important. So if you have like this model that you love, but it's just a one-way handout, and you see it having potential to grow, to start addressing more barriers, that's how you can be involved, right? You can work with your favorite nonprofit and expand its perspective in terms of how it's resourcing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are people who don't want to be involved and want to use their money. And I say that's really valuable.
It's just fine.
We need financial resources, right? But we want to make sure that those financial resources get you a return.
Yeah. No, it's been so much fun just watching your program evolve. Thanks. I know you have lots of people in it, and it's not about you, but it always takes that founder to have the vision and the person that, there was an event, you said, hey, I need to do this differently. And I look back to our founder, Lidwin Durney, and it was just like she saw somebody die early that was really important to her, and it was for a really dumb reason. And she said, I'm going to go make a difference. And, you look at where the organization is today, like we're able to serve more people and help. And when we look at healthcare, like that's one of those foundational elements that people need to survive. But I think even, there are times, when we look at some of the stuff we do, I mean, we're rescuing, there's lots there, but when I look at our therapy side of it, I mean, I think there's not a better example of the investment of walking alongside people and just giving people the skills and helping them get there. And I love the alignment between our organizations. It's so much fun to, thank you for investing and being a part of our street medicine program. It's probably the one that's just closest to my heart because, I mean, these are people that just need help. And we've seen some real wins out of this. So
some major
it's incredible.
wins,
Do you want to talk about any? Do you have a story?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So one of the things that we do for Street Med is we do a bulk award. Funding was lost for the hardware on phones, right? And so Chris came to us and said, that's my first touch point with many. And here's what they need to do to come in, meet, but I need the phones. So we provided the grant funds for phones. Chris started out with, the examples are many. I'll just pick the one. One who desperately needed consistency, especially on their meds. So, and this is what Chris explained and educated us about. Is the phones are the touch point, number one, for them to be reminded to come in to get their meds. I mean, the reality is meds may be a lifetime need for many of these people. And we have to understand that and recognize it and support it in a way that's right, correct? Right? So, anyway, this particular individual over time built trust because of the connection with the phone call. And is now worked for Street Med for a while, and then he launched his own nonprofit.
I know.
And I think you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And he suffered a terrible trauma in his life. So the trauma is real, right? And when we have a resource like Heritage Health that does trauma-informed care, then the other organizations that work with Chris are able to better support in their specific role. And it's brilliant. We also helped house several who had been chronically homeless. And Chris shared with me one woman who they found out even after she was placed in an apartment that she was still in her car. Do you know this story?
I don't think I know this one.
So again, because the trust is there, because they understand, they don't judge, there's no shame, they just ask questions.
Yeah.
Well, it'd been so long since she'd been inside four walls that she wasn't comfortable. Oh my goodness.
I know, isn't that so sad? Yeah.
So they erected a tent in the front room. And she just slept in the tent.
Yeah.
I don't remember, I think it was like a month or two
Yeah.
until she finally acclimated
Yeah.
in a way that was loving and caring and supportive so that she could actually then be in the apartment.
That's beautiful.
It's fantastic, right? It's fantastic, right?
Oh my gosh,
So, and this is the extreme, right? I mean, these are really the individuals who have been cast aside because it just seems overwhelming, impossible to help them.
Like life is always chaos. Like,
You know, and so, I mean, I think that was a journey of over 2 years. So, but there are other touch points that don't take that level, right? But still, the same day access to mental health support that you've launched
It's been a big deal.
is huge,
Yeah.
right? It's huge.
I remember, 7 years ago or so, we had just a terrible summer here. We lost too many people. And that wake-up call for the community to say we have to do mental health services differently. And, Crisis Center came in, and then we've just continued to invest in it. And, to go down to the Center for Healthy Living now and know that you can just show up and we're going to take care of you. I mean, that becomes this thing where it opens doors. When your life is chaos and we say, oh, great, you have an appointment on Thursday at 3 o'clock, 5 miles away from here. Yeah, I mean, if your life is stable, maybe like that still can be challenging. If your life is just all chaos, it doesn't work, but being able to, again, just walk alongside people, we drive people to appointments, like, you make people, or you help people get there. And then you just start to see the shift. You start to see that soul lighten up. And even if somebody's living in a tent in their front room for a minute, that quiet that comes when the chaos starts to dissipate because of the things that you guys have done. It's got to feel just so great to see it. Yeah.
Well, I know without a doubt that this work is providentially guided.
Yeah.
That I think he's just basically said when we founded Charity Reimagined, it's like, I'm done losing so much potential to poverty. I'm just done. I don't want it anymore. I've gifted everybody, and they need to use their gifts.
Yep.
So, and it is slow.
It is slow.
But we've done it now for enough years that we've got just these amazing individuals who are on fire, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think it's going to start accelerating.
Yeah, it's gonna.
I do.
I love the momentum that comes, right? I mean, you have an idea and you prove the model, and then you start to see these outcomes. I mean, it becomes that flywheel that then just starts to drive bigger and better change. And I love how you mentioned before just the impact of the long term versus the short term flash. Like, we're here and we're good. Yeah, you got some food today, but we're gonna just walk alongside you, and it is challenging. It does take time. But that's how you build community. I mean, you have to build that long-term approach to community, and just we're so lucky that you've done the work. It's been great.
Well, and honestly, a lot of people are working.
Yeah.
Again, right?
Yeah.
In a community that has a help wanted sign everywhere, right?
Yep.
And that first paycheck, we get feedback
Yeah.
about when they get their first paycheck and how excited they are, and it's like, yes.
I know. They're like, we did it.
I think, again, we're wired to work
Yeah.
in whatever capacity we can.
For sure.
Right? So I think when people realize that the lies they've been told their whole lives, that they've come to believe are lies,
Yeah.
and that they really are worthy and capable.
Yep. I like every single person you meet has that potential.
Right.
And that gift to do something with life. And when it's been masked and covered up, it's just so sad to see when it's lost. So I love that you guys are doing that. As we work on wrapping up here,
Yep.
how do people stay connected with you guys? So if they've listened to this podcast the first time they've heard about you, how would they connect with you, and what would you ask for this community? How can we come in and help?
Well, to stay connected, we have a website, charityreimagined.org, and people can reach out to us there. We love coffee dates. We
great.
meet with people and talk with them and find out what their hearts are and what their desires are. And often they share their frustrations, and it's like, great, okay. And then that usually leads to conversation with one of their favorite nonprofits, and that lets us talk to their nonprofit about different models, different ways to do things. And really between Dr. Lupton and the hundreds of others who have shifted models across the country, there are some models that are really easy to tweak, and there are some models that take a little more work, right?
Yeah.
But if somebody's listening to this and their interest is piqued, to just reach out and we'll go have coffee and we'll talk about it and find out what they want. But the goal would be, right, for them to use their influence to have the discussion, right, and not be afraid to challenge, right? If you're thinking that there's a way to do it better, then there probably is, right?
Let's bring it up.
So
I imagine that even the people that are on the other side of this, that they're giving, they've been impacted by your relationship as well. You know, as you go through that, sometimes you think, oh, I'm the person helping here, but it's so true that when you help, your life gets better as well. And I'm sure that you've seen that as, you know, you've connected with people. I think that's one of the things I've always loved about you, like your coffee dates, just you're that person that will just go sit down with someone and say, what are you thinking? How do we figure this out? Whether it's, you know, somebody in crisis or somebody that wants to help, you know, you've done such a great job of connecting all of that stuff. You've lived in the middle and like brought people into this space. And
that's nice of
doing
you to
such
say.
great work. So
That's nice of you to say. Thank you.
Well, it's true. Yeah.
I will tell you that we've got now a pretty expensive volunteer group. And so they're reaching out and they're meeting with people too. Not everybody likes a cup of coffee like I do, but most do, right? So, but anyway, they're on fire as well. They're pretty excited and doing a lot of outreach, which is just great, right? The more people that we have understanding this work and not misunderstanding.
Yeah.
That was a hurdle in the beginning.
It's
Mike.
a big deal.
Yeah,
I
it was a
remember
hurdle.
early on. It's just like just challenging people to think about it differently. And like I remember again, even in myself, I was like, okay, how do we adjust? How do we calibrate? And it's been so fun, just again to just watch both of our organizations evolve. But like now having that, okay, we're gonna have a couple months here, there's some rescue, but really the long-term impact comes from the investment in another human being and having that connection with Chris and the teams and all the other partners. Like they know how to work with people, they know what they need versus, again, I don't want to ever discourage like random giving because sure, there's a place for that. But I love that this is that focused approach to really drive people back into safe spaces.
Thanks.
So, yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, this has been so much fun. Maggie, so Day of Hope is coming up, which is another incredible opportunity for our community to come together. Let's talk about that before we go.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk about Day of Hope. So I know the founders quite well, and they were bemoaning 2 years ago, right, that they just felt like they weren't really reaching people. Yeah. It was this one-day event. Yep. People showed up. They picked up free backpacks. They picked up free food. They got free haircuts. Then they all left.
It feels good, right? Like on the surface, feels good to some people.
Yeah, it does. But they'd done it a few years, and that feel good was waning.
Right.
And it was really kind of casual how it came up. But they said, we're just not. I don't think that we're really helping. So it's like, oh, want us to redesign it? Because this is like. It's a wonderful opportunity. We have so many organizations because of what we've learned, especially through the Christmas for All Year initiative, right? We have so many amazing organizations in this community who really do resource beautifully and cross-resource and work collaboratively. So how about instead of just free giveaways. You can still do your haircuts.
Yeah, one-time shot, sure.
But how about we bring in these really trusted partners who represent an amazing cross-section of need or barrier breakers, right, in the community. Heritage Health Street Medicine was one. Center for New Direction and NIC was another. Panhandle Health does fabulous work, right?
Great work.
The list goes on. So, I mean, again, never done this before, but we all met, and then they all started saying, okay, and it was like, well, how do we structure this so that people learn about you with a relatively quick elevator speech approach, but then they're motivated to come back.
Yeah.
And what really speared this was the year before I just went and observed. This was the year that they said and it was really late. I mean, it was like in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was amazed. We stood there, how many people came through that did not know about Croc and did not know about NIC.
Like, what?
I was like, that's impossible, right? But it was real.
Right.
And so that's what the genesis was of the information that we gathered. And so every one of these organizations ran with it way beyond what I even envisioned. And the Mobile, the Heritage Health Mobile was there. You were there.
Yeah.
And Panhandle Health did the mammograms. And it was just this magnificent opportunity for people right on the spot to connect and learn.
Yep.
And they did that. I didn't know that this would happen, but 2 women who had just fled domestic violence and were new to our community showed up. They got connected with about 3 different groups, predominantly with Center for New Direction, followed up because there was an incentive to come back.
Yeah.
Followed up the next week. They are both now stable and enrolled in school.
That's so cool.
At different levels, right? Training in one
That's great.
school.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, okay, this was the right thing to
This
do,
is how
right?
it works. Yeah.
So this is the second year of
Right.
that change, and we started out small with just 10 organizations, and we're at 23 this year.
That's great.
So they'll come through and it's fun. They get a stamp. They are eligible for raffles. There's a great barbecue and place for kids. And the Croc stepped up to actually do the kids center this year.
Great. Yeah.
So it's an opportunity to recognize that there's this community-wide event that's very, very popular, and to take that structure and just make it better.
Right.
It's not that it was bad.
Yeah. I mean,
but
it's
just
not
make it better.
just a one-time shot. Like, it's the place that gathers people, but then there's this opportunity to then walk alongside people after, and hopefully they don't have to go back next year, right? I mean, they can be part of
That's
the group
right.
that's volunteering and helping, and
That's right.
that's the cycle. You guys need sponsors for that. What does that look like if you're a sponsor?
Well, if you're a sponsor, again, Day of Hope 208 Ministries is running that, but the sponsorships provide different levels of recognition and shout-outs during the day and publication.
That's great.
So,
and they can find out about that through the website, or is that another direction?
Well, we should have a link on our website probably to 208 Ministries, but if you go to 208ministries.com.
Okay, great. Okay, and we'll put a link in the show notes.
Let's
as
do
well,
that,
so
right?
that's there
Yeah,
for
let's do
people.
that.
Yeah. Yay! Look at all of these opportunities to just connect, have a real impact, right? Again, if all you can do today is give someone a bag of groceries, yay, cool, do that. But again, think about that long-term impact, and that's the impetus of your work. And I think as we do that, like we talked at the start of the show, just watching that light come back in people's eyes has got to be so rewarding. This has been so
Lives
much
discovered.
fun.
Thank you. Thank you for partnering with us,
Oh,
Mike.
of
Really,
course,
no,
yeah.
we would not have the change without Heritage Health's support, right? Without the great work you guys are doing. Yeah. And I'm not saying that just because you have
I
me on
know
this
you're
podcast.
so kind.
I mean,
We've had lots
you
of time,
are so
lots of
strategic in
times
this
together,
work.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's really strategic partnership.
It's fun. Like, it just feels like it clicks. So thank you for the kind words.
Thanks.
We have an incredible team here, just like you guys, and it's great. So, well, thanks for being here, and we'll talk again probably later around Christmas, and we'll have some more conversations about the great work there.
Okay, great.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you.